Let's get more updates, especially from Florida. We've shown you the impact Idalia has made on several states, like Georgia, like South Carolina, like North Carolina. But right now, we do want to check back in on Florida, where Idalia made landfall early this morning as a Category 3 storm. Fox Weather meteorologist Bob Van Dillen, he was and is in Clearwater Beach with the latest when the surf and the storm surge was really rising before landfall. Let's check back in with him right now. He's standing by there near the beach in Clearwater. And Bob, thanks for being with us. I know you've been out there all day and night. You've been monitoring the impacts, the conditions as well. What are they looking like at this hour?
You know what? It's amazing how fast the storm surge comes up, Andrew, and then how fast it can recede. But it's all about the wind direction and the strength of the wind. So we were out here yesterday, and it was about this time when we were thinking, okay, the storm surge hasn't come up yet. We know the storm itself is about 100 miles away from us, almost at our latitude. But then we got out of our truck one time for about a 12:15 hit in the morning. We're talking this morning early, and you could hear the Gulf of Mexico roaring. We're like, now we haven't heard that the entire day. It's been muffled. The reason why, wind has been in our face. Now that the wind was starting to shift and come back over the Gulf of Mexico, we could hear it loud and clear. That also meant that the wind had shifted and it's beginning to push that storm surge in. So we knew that that was going to start happening. Sure enough, right after that, we started seeing this storm surge build up here in Clearwater Beach. It came in slowly, started to layer itself up over a few hours, and it topped out at about 4 feet, which happened to be a record. And I got up this morning early after our hotel did become an island. It was not deep. I mean, it was only up to about our shins, but it got that far. We're talking about a block in from the beach right over here, and it was still up because the winds were screaming off the Gulf of Mexico, still about 40 miles per hour with the gusts early this morning. And we had the water just trapped right across all the roads here in Clearwater Beach. Again, not dire, not deep, but definitely up at the curb level. Then by about noon, the wind started to slacken. Even though they're at the same direction, coming out of the southwest to west, it wasn't quite as strong. So that allowed the big surge to begin to fall back just a little bit and go back into the Gulf of Mexico. The only thing that's left now, by about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just wet roads, a lot of sand on the roads, and you can see some ponding right there on some of the parking lots around here because it's trapped and some of that water's not going to go anywhere. But right now, things are okay. But if you look behind me, now we're starting to splash up on the seawall right here because it's that supermoon, right? The moon is in perigee. It's real close to Earth. It's super bright. It's about 14% brighter now than a normal moon, and that has an effect on the tides too. So the tides here about 2.5 feet usually. Tonight, right around 3 feet. So it's going to be a little higher, and that water might, in fact, come splashing over here again. But that has nothing to do with the storm surge. That's all astronomical stuff. Andrew.
Yeah, you know, Bob, we want to just put up what you tweeted not too long ago there with a photo of the moon. And that's so interesting that you have these, you know, kind of natural phenomena happening almost simultaneously, but one impacts directly the other. I just want to read your tweet. You say super blue sturgeon moon after the Clearwater Beach sunset with that photo there. But that is so interesting. You know, you got a really great picture of it, but that's impacting the tide, and that has nothing to do with Idalia.
So you're right. I mean, you're talking about high tides anyway. In fact, it's so interesting now. It's a tropical storm. It's about 60 miles away from Charleston inland. But they just recorded their 5th highest sea level there ever of all time because, like you said, it coincided not just with a full moon, but with a super full moon, which exerts more gravitational pull on the oceans, which makes the tides higher and lower. So everything phased at the right time to bring the water right up. I mean, the right time, the bad time, it shouldn't have happened. But right here when it made landfall, right when it went past us, it came in just after midnight. I mean, it was pitch dark. That's like the worst time also.
Okay, I learned something new each and every hurricane season, but the rapidity with which the storm surge recedes, that's new, I think, to a lot of people who follow this story. They didn't think that that would happen. Is that normal? Does that happen in a lot of these hurricanes? Because like you have been saying, yeah, Bob, the storm surge, though, was exactly as predicted, as high, I should say, as predicted.
Yeah, it was the range for this beach was 4 to 6 feet, and it got to just a little bit over 4 feet. So the reason why it wasn't like 6 or 7 or 8 is because the center of circulation was 100 miles offshore. But that's just a testament to how much wind and energy came in off the Gulf of Mexico. And you think about a storm surge like this. If you have a cup of water and you blow on it, you got the waves that ripple out towards the other edge. That's essentially a small storm surge, right? Now put that on a global scale. As soon as you stop blowing on that water, it comes right back to normal. Same thing globally. As soon as you shut off that wind, it's pushed it all into the channel on shore. And all of a sudden you just let it go. Well, that water's going to slosh right back out. It's going to take its time, but it's going to go back out because it's not getting pushed in anymore by the wind that initially threw it in the first place.
Yeah, and Bob, just lastly, I know you got to go, but the sentiment that we're kind of getting all day today, the theme seems to me to be that a lot of people dodged a bullet here. It could have been much worse, but also, you know, we're just in the middle of Atlantic hurricane season. We got about 2 more months to go.
Yeah, we do, and we've got Franklin out there that people were sleeping on, but the waves are huge on the East Coast automatically. Jones Beach, the amphitheater, it got swamped tonight, but the concert went on anyway. I mean, that's big wave action with that Supermoon. You had the major Hurricane Franklin out there. We've got more impulses out across the Atlantic. Yeah, peak of hurricane season, Andrew, is September 10th. We're not quite into September yet, but we're getting close.
All right, as always, Fox Weather's Bob Van Dillen. We do appreciate all of your reporting, your expertise in this storm specifically, and thanks so much, Bob. We'll talk again.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. No problem.
All right, we do just want to remind our viewers here that there at Fox Weather, it is your hurricane headquarters for all things tropics and weather news. You can stream it on your favorite connected device, always on, always free. Check your channel on foxweather.com. Well, you just saw Bob there. He was at Clearwater Beach. We'll take a look at what Clearwater Beach did also look like as well today, because you can see the sun was out. We just talked to Bob there, and he was describing the phases of this huge supermoon, but also you can see from Fox 35 meteorologist Paul Delgado with this photo. He says, hard to believe 24 hours ago there was a Cat 2 125 miles west of here. Now you can see a gorgeous shot there from Paul Delgado in the Tampa Bay area there at Clearwater Beach. That's what it looked like. So it's really, really interesting how 24 hours can make such a difference. We'll be back in 2 minutes.